much for joining me again on the Ross A. Bespoke YouTube channel. Now, today I have got a very different guest. This is very exciting because this is something totally different from the normal people that I speak to. I've got Adam Knight, and Adam Knight teaches people to swim. But to be honest, he does a lot more than that. I'm going to let him explain to you in his own words about his companies, the S plural companies, and about what he does and how he does it.
Hello, my name's Adam Knight and I'm the VIP home visit swimming teacher.
I would recommend Adam for sure. He's so good with kids. He's so friendly, he's so flexible, and the kids just love it. They look forward to their lesson every single week, and he's really made a difference in their confidence in the water.
That was one of the things that Adam taught very early on, actually, was how to, if you get tired in water, how to rest, how to be safe when you're in there, how to get to the side. So I feel much more confident that Ella will be safe this summer.
I can help you or your child become safe and confident in the water by creating a bespoke swimming program tailor-made to your schedule and you or your child's needs. I teach babies, toddlers and adults of all ages, and I'm also qualified to teach those with disabilities or special needs. With over 12 years experience teaching private one-to-one classes all over the world, I'm confident I can help you or your little one achieve their swimming goals.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Simeon, yeah, thank you very much for having me. I've watched quite a few of your videos with the experts in the ultra high net worth space, so really appreciate your time. So swimming, this has been my biggest passion for the last 12 years, teaching people of all ages how to be safe in the water. Just to give you a bit of background, so I run two companies. We've got Angel Swim London, where we've got partnerships with schools in Chelsea, Putney and Balham. And I've got an incredible team of swimming teachers who deliver our classes, very small classes, maximum of 2 or 4, to our 500 clients across London. And yeah, we've been running Angel Swim for the last 3 years. And we're obviously had a bit of a challenging time this last year with lockdown after lockdown, but the end of lockdowns is in sight. There is light at the end of the tunnel. On the 12th of April, we will open up again, and we're very excited about that. So there's Angel Swim London over here, where people can come to us, and that's for babies, children, and adults. And we also have another company, which is Eden Swim London. Now, Eden Swim London is probably what you guys will be more interested in on this channel, which is my home visit swim service, which caters typically to the ultra high net worth family. There's two kind of courses that I provide. So I offer weekly lessons where I'll come to people's residences in Kensington, Chelsea, Notting Hill, etc. And I also run a 2-week crash course, which is available internationally. So previously I've worked for clients in the Middle East, and I've flown out to their holiday residence in Europe, and every day we'll do 2 swimming lessons, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and then a sports session in the evening. And these crash courses are a fantastic way to make a large amount of progress in a short amount of time.
Well, I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, tell me, can you teach someone to swim in 2 weeks? Is that enough to teach someone to swim?
Simeon, that is the golden question, and I'm very reluctant to answer that because every individual is different. What I can guarantee you is that if if a family does book this crash course, they're giving their children or themselves the best chance of learning to swim. But everyone progresses at different rates. But I've developed a unique technique which focuses first on water safety, so making sure that either the child or adult is able to float in the water and then be able to rotate onto their back. So if they're ever on holiday or near a river or a swimming pool, if they ever fall in, they're able to roll over and float first and foremost. And then once we've achieved that kind of water safe status, then we start to look at freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke and butterfly. But yeah, to answer your question, generally with adults, from a complete beginner to being able to swim a length, 25 meters of decent freestyle, can take about 20 hours of tuition.
Okay, that's good, because it's difficult to, especially with the adults. I'm just trying to think, obviously I learned to swim when I was a child, and I know that the older you get, the harder it gets to learn stuff, doesn't it? Because we get stuck in our ways. So, I mean, I can see that, I can totally see this service, and I can see how excellent it is for high net worth families, because they can't just go to the municipal swimming pool and well, I suppose they could, but they're not going to just go to the municipal swimming pool and get an instructor from there. But they do have their own swimming pools, they do have their own beachfront properties, this kind of thing. So having your service is absolutely invaluable.
Absolutely. Having access to a swimming pool at home, there are so many benefits to having lessons there. First and foremost, I suppose, is the privacy. What you might find at a leisure centre or a health club is there might be multiple lessons happening around the lesson that the child is in or the adult is in. And, all that noise can be quite distracting. So having a private, quiet environment allows, obviously, the client to listen to my instructions, which leads to faster progress. Second, having a swimming pool at home and doing swimming lessons there, I can, in terms of convenience, the client can literally roll out of bed, come down to the swimming pool and get started. So the commute is minimal. And finally, and probably most significantly, is with all my clients I provide my home visit swim service to, is that I set drills and homework to practice outside of lessons. So whatever we cover in the lesson, at the end, I'll then say, right, so this is what we've covered today. I'd like you to practice X, Y, and Z. And swimming's just like any skill. What you put in, you get out. So they've got the opportunity to practice at home, get maximum value from the lesson, and achieve the fastest progress.
I mean, this is brilliant, because this sort of holistic approach of yours, I'm guessing that must inspire these children to get far more into swimming than I would imagine they ever would be otherwise.
Sure, yeah. So when it comes to, sparking that kind of desire to improve, swimming's got so many benefits. There's physical, mental, social, and emotional. So swimming is, in terms of other sports, it's the only one which is a life-saving skill. That's an absolute fact. Swimming could one day potentially save your or your child's life. So that's, one of the most important factors. It's also the gateway to a lot of other sports. So if you can swim, you can then learn to surf. If you can swim, then you can water ski. If you can swim, you can go kayaking, canoeing. It unlocks the door to so many other sports. And I guess there's not just the physical benefits of it makes you stronger or increases your stamina, good for the heart and the lungs, but also the mental benefits of swimming as well. I like to describe swimming as a moving meditation. Once you get your body aligned with your breathing, a nice swim for half an hour isn't just a workout for your body, but afterwards your brain releases serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins, and that kind of happiness that you feel, that's the chemical reaction that swimming gives you. So it's not just, a life-saving skill, but it's also physically and mentally good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I love swimming, and I'm glad you've given me a bit of the science behind it, because I've certainly had that feeling. When you go, whatever your day's like, if you go for a swim, you always feel better afterwards. It's like guaranteed. It's not in question. You will feel better afterwards. So it's nice to know that that's actually some sort of physiological change within me with my endorphins and stuff. That's absolutely fantastic. So, you were telling me about the safety. Now this is very important, isn't it? Because when people are, especially if they're traveling, so they might go and spend a few months in Barbados or the Bahamas or something like that. So suddenly, if they live in central London, now they've got the sea and they've got swimming pools everywhere. So could you for example, if someone booked in your services before they went away, so they could be up to scratch and safe in the water before they went, would that be a logical thing to do?
Yeah, Simeon, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, here in London, there's obviously not the nicest beaches available, but obviously, yeah, a lot of my clients, they travel internationally. A lot of them travel on their yachts as well. And, you know, a lot of parents, they want peace of mind that when they go on holiday and are surrounded by water, that their children will be safe, and that, you know, it won't be a concern or a risk. So certainly enrolling on a course, you know, once, twice, or even 3 times a week in the run up to you know, the holiday season, absolutely I'd recommend, because you know, if children or adults attend consistently, you'll see that consistent progress, and just in time for holiday, that's, you know, that's exactly what people want.
Yeah. And actually, I'm really glad you mentioned yachts, because, you know, I've worked on yachts and been around boats a lot throughout my life. And actually, I know what you mean. Like, even myself, as someone who's a fairly reasonable swimmer, when you jump off of a boat into the ocean, let alone fall off, it's bad enough when you jump off, let alone fall off. It's actually very scary. And even if you know to swim, it takes you a while to remember that you know how to swim.
Absolutely,
you know
yeah. Yeah, and you know, like I said, you want, you know, it's, I think for a lot of parents, it's really important that, you know, their kids and themselves are equipped for when they do go on holiday. They're not relying on, you know, flotation aids or armbands or things like that, so that they are able to effectively, you know, be safe in the water. But also, you know, if there's any adults out there who don't know how to swim and go through the process of learning, then not only will they be able to save themselves, but also potentially they'll be able to save their children or someone else as well. So yeah, swimming is truly a life-saving skill.
Yeah, literally, absolutely fantastic. So I'm really glad we've had this chat, because if a few people watching this think to themselves, you know what, Adam's service, that Eden Swim, that's perfect for us, and then them booking you to do that could literally, either it could, in an extreme, it could save a life, but even if we forget the extreme, but it would definitely improve their happiness and their wellness, because the exercise and the therapy and everything.
Absolutely. I've got some clients who, before we started working together, they'd have an incredible 20-meter beautiful swimming pool at home here in London, and it would never be used. And through our Learn to Swim process, we've now transformed that swimming pool, which used to be a place of fear and a place of, oh God, don't want to go in there, to it's now part of their lifestyle. They'll wake up in the morning and they'll get active, they'll move, they'll swim, and it's now part of their lifestyle. So yeah, swimming is, yeah, other than the life-saving aspect, that's obvious, it's yeah, the gateway to so many other sports, and you know, it can become part of your lifestyle, and you know, make you active, make you fitter, make you happier, and live for longer.
That's what we all want, isn't it? So okay, so a lot of people listening to this may well be now thinking, well, how do we get in contact with Adam? What do we do next? So what should they do? How do they find you? Sure.
So in terms of getting in touch, we're on social media. So if you search on Instagram, you'll find at Eden Swim London, our website, www.edenswimlondon. And we also have a YouTube channel, which is Angel Swim London. So yeah, if anyone is looking to enroll in lessons, or even just book a trial lesson just to see what we're all about, yeah, please pick up the phone, drop us a message on our website, and I'll be happy to help.
Well, that's a great idea. And those of you watching this video, look, you're already on YouTube. You might as well click across and check out the YouTube site, might you? What was that? Would just run that name of it, just in case they've already forgotten.
Sure. Our YouTube channel is Angel Swim London.
Angel Swim London. Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. So okay, if we just 1 second, let's think, what is the most important, if you could give people one bit of advice for staying healthy and staying happy, what would that be?
So be consistent with being active. Lots of people think that, you know, they can spend months and months being inactive, sitting on the sofa, watching movies. And don't get me wrong, I love sitting on the sofa and watching movies too. I was with my girlfriend last night watching a movie, but you can't do that consistently. You know, do one huge workout and then go back to it. Being active and becoming more healthy is something that just requires a little bit of effort each day. And, you know, all it takes is you're not competing with anyone else. You know, on social media, there's lots of influencers who are always, you know, talking about, oh, you know, I can lift this or I can run this far. The only person that you should be competing with is yourself. And the only improvement that you need to make is you just need to be better than what you were yesterday. So you don't need to make these huge jumps. It's just small, consistent improvements. And I guess one tip I would give for anyone, and this is just for fitness in general, if you know, a lot of us, we face those choices where it's like, you know, for example, right now it's February, it's cold, it's dark, it's raining. You know, I went for a run earlier, but before I went out, I was sitting there thinking, my God, I don't want to do this. Why? I've got a nice warm house here. Like, why would I go? And then, you know, top tip, there's an influencer, there's a guy I listen to called David Goggins. Put a bit of David Goggins in your ear, and that guy will motivate you. And that's what happened tonight. I was like, I didn't want to go. I put him in my ear and I was like, yeah, okay. And went for my run, came back, and now I feel full of energy. So small, consistent steps. And remember, you only need to be better than the person you were yesterday. So it doesn't have to be big jumps.
That's brilliant. So that's, yeah, because that's sensible, that's sustainable. Like you say, if you just go out and hurt yourself by trying to do some giant workout after, you know, 6 months of inactivity, that's probably going to put you off ever trying to do it again, isn't it? 'Cause you won't be able to walk for a week.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's important for people to remember, this is just me talking off my head, like some people, especially with swimming, they might be worried because they don't have, you know, ripped abs and all this kind of stuff. But that's not what it's about, is it? It's about yourself.
So yeah, you asked that. That's a very good question, actually. So swimming is a sport which doesn't discriminate in terms of age, race, religion, or location. You know, swimming, we teach babies. You know, the youngest that we teach is from 6 weeks old. So we've got mum and babies coming to the water. You know, I'm a triathlete, so I'm kind of more on the competitive side and swim long distances. And I've got clients who also want to do the same. But I've also got some clients who want to swim for the pure enjoyment for it. My oldest client, and she won't mind me telling you this, she's 82 years old. She suffers with arthritis and she had mobility issues with her shoulder. But through consistent swimming, and like I said earlier, just a little bit, you know, a couple times a week, you know, her mobility has started to improve, her strength and her stamina, and the pain has started, it's not completely gone, but it started to, you know, subsist. And that's because swimming has no impact on the joints, and it's a sport for all ages. And you know what, I'm really happy that I found something that I love to do. Teaching swimming, you know, is my biggest passion. I'm definitely not cut out to be sat in an office from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I love being in the water, and I love seeing the progress in people, whether they're babies, children, or adults. Yeah, I just love being in the pool.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, if you can find a job that you love, you never work a day in your life. Absolutely fantastic.
You said it right.
And you know what? I just quickly, it just reminds me where I grew up in Broadstairs in Kent, seaside town. There was an old lady there, and I think she lived to a good 100. And every morning, really early, she went and swam in the sea, even in middle of winter. I remember seeing her once walking through the snow, and she would walk from her house just in her bathing costume in the middle of winter. This lady of nearly 100, without a word of a lie, would go and swim in the sea and then walk back to her house every single morning.
Wow. They don't make him like they used to.
That's it. I mean, she was tough as nails. But I think that's how you live to 100, isn't it? If you do that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, talking about open water swimming, or cold water swimming is scientifically proven to reduce the risk of dementia as you get older, and it's got so many other benefits as well. So again, open water swimming, if you can't swim, you know, that might seem like quite a daunting prospect, but again, if you enroll in lessons in the pool and get to, you know, a good standard of swimming, that then unlocks the door to then going swimming in the ocean and open water swimming. And as you just said, you know, you can do it from the cradle to the grave. So from baby to 100 years old.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, where I live now, we've got up in Scotland, we have some beautiful crystal clear lochs, which are just perfect for wild swimming. They're just perfect for that open water. They're pretty cold, to be fair, but
yeah,
assuming you can take that. Maybe a wetsuit.
Yeah, recommended.
Well, you know, this has been wonderful talking to you. You're obviously a very natural in front of the camera. It's absolutely been a joy. Is there any final sort of thoughts that you'd like to leave the people with today?
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to give you know, my 3 top tips for swimming, because, you know, learning to swim, you know, it's a step-by-step process, and I've got 3 tips which, you know, if applied correctly, can help a lot of people, whether they're learning on their own, or whether they'd like to learn with an instructor. So tip number 1 is relax. And I know it might seem simple or obvious, but a lot of people, when they come to the pool, they'll treat it like they're going to the gym. So, you know, when you get these guys going to the gym, oh, I'm going to lift as much as I can and put 110% in. That's not the mentality you need to have when you come to the swimming pool. My clients do their best swimming when they're relaxed. So tip number 1 is just take a breath, relax, loosen up your body, and that will help you perform your best swimming. So that's tip number 1, is relax. Tip number 2 is breathe. A lot of people, when they swim, they'll take a big breath at the start and they'll just swim as fast as they can. And by the end of the length, they'll be exhausted, they'll be gasping for air, and it's just not a sustainable way to swim. So when we're on land, we breathe. Normally we inhale and we exhale, and that's exactly what you should do in the water. So when you're swimming, you should exhale through your nose, and when you breathe, which should be to the side, you inhale through the mouth. So one more time, you exhale through the nose when your face is in the water, and then you inhale through the mouth. So by reciprocating this natural breathing, that makes swimming much more sustainable. Because if you hold your breath, carbon dioxide will build up in your bloodstream, and you'll start to get that onset, that panic, that kind of sinking feeling. So it's really important that you exhale through your nose and inhale through your mouth to swim sustainably. So that's tip number 2, breathe. And then tip number 3, this is a tip that I borrowed from a legend in the swimming industry. His name's Terry Loughlin. He founded a company called Total Immersion Swimming. And this tip that I've borrowed from him is fire your laser beam forwards. So what does that mean? So when you're swimming, imagine there's a laser beam being fired from the crown of your head forwards. And whenever you're swimming, you always want to maintain that laser beam forwards. So what that will do, that will keep your body position nice and flat. When you turn to the side to breathe, you'll maintain that laser beam firing forwards. A lot of people, the biggest mistake when they swim is that they'll lift their head to breathe. So with that whole laser beam analogy, imagine when you lift your head, that laser beam will fire up into the sky. You might shoot a pigeon or something, but more significantly, your body position will become vertical and you're going to sink. So whenever you swim, fire that laser beam forwards when you're swimming and also when you turn to breathe. So in summary, relax, breathe, and fire your laser beam forward. Those 3 tips will hopefully help a lot of you guys out there with your swimming.
Well, that's brilliant. Oh, well, I'm so glad we could do that and people get some tips for their swimming. And that's totally logical. I'm going to, when I actually get a chance to go swimming again, hopefully it won't be that long, I'm going to try and put that in because I recognize what you're saying and I'm already recognizing what I'm doing wrong just listening to you there. So those tips are going to be helping a lot of people. So
absolutely.
Great advice and also great taste in black polo necks.
Thanks.
Very stylish chap. I like that. So anything else you'd like to share with us before I let you enjoy your evening?
No, just wanted to say a big thank you to yourself for having me on your YouTube channel. Really appreciate everything that you're doing in the ultra high net worth space. And yeah, hopefully our paths will cross again. And I wish you and your family health and wealth this year.
Oh, that's wonderful. And the same to you. Thank you so much for joining us. It really has been my pleasure. So everyone, you know how to get hold of Adam now. You know how to watch his videos and you know how to just enjoy finding out a bit more about him and more about his business. If you'd like to find out a bit more about me and a bit more about my business, then feel free to subscribe to the channel and watch some of my other videos. So that's all from me now tonight. Thank you very much and goodbye.